Hi, guys. Welcome back. I'm Leo McCarthy, spiritual mentor, psychic and medium, Reiki Master, EFT Tapping practitioner, and Shaman. Today I have a question for you. I want to talk about how can we make time for ourselves? It's something that I think a lot of us go back and forth with. And, you know, before talking about how can we make time for myself, I want to talk a little bit about why we don't make time for ourselves. Now, there's a few reasons why. We have reasons for that I'm too busy and I have no extra time. Um, we have reasons for I have these obligations and I have to do this or that, and that is my first priority, so I don't have time for myself. It could be um you could be working two jobs, you could be working three jobs, you could be working and going to school, all things that take up our time. And it would be a natural reaction to think, how can I find more time? Part of the reason that we don't make time for ourselves is sort of from experiences that we've gone through in life. Could be as a child, usually starts there, but it could be through situations later on in life as well. But we have these wounds that we're dealing with, and we have these limiting beliefs that are these negative stories in our head. We have wounds of like worthiness, being worthy, or feeling deserving enough, or be deserving of self-love, or being good enough. And all of those wounds and things connected to them and our perceptions connected to them limit us. And it makes us put ourselves on the back burner and make everything else a priority because we are not valuing ourselves because of these wounds. And because of this as well, because we don't feel that we deserve it, we don't set boundaries. And this could be personal boundaries, this could be boundaries with other people, could be in your personal life, could be work boundaries. But because we don't value ourselves enough, we put the priority on the other person and make them more important than ourselves because subconsciously we might not feel good enough, or we may not feel like we deserve it, or we may not even think that we love ourselves as much. So, what we have to first consider is what are the things, if we were to find the time to do them, what would be those things that you might do? Would it be something that you would do for yourself independently? Or would this be something that you would do with another person or a group of people? And we start to have to give those things a value of importance to us. Because if they're not important enough to us, then we're less likely to be motivated to try to do these things. And the value that we place on these things, again, is directly connected to the perception of ourselves that we might have subconsciously, feeling like the woundedness, the not good enough, the not deserving part, because we feel that way, or that's a limiting belief that we have, we don't feel like we have the power to give these other things value to us because we may not feel like we deserve this. And so we have to do a little bit of inner work and a switch in our perspective of how we look at ourselves. When we can look at ourselves and give ourselves a chance to just be curious about how, let's say, it would feel like to be worthy, to be deserving, to be enough. And the possibility of even thinking that way is a possibility of it being true. And if there's a possibility of that, then it's possible that I have enough power to give things that are important to me value. And once we can give these things value, we can build the vibration of those things, of how they can have a positive effect on us, and strengthen that. And then if it's important enough to us and we've placed enough value on it, our next question would be, okay, how can I find the time? And where can I find the time? And maybe the first thing to do is figuring out, what are we doing with our time right now on a daily basis? How much time are we spending on work? What are we doing with our personal time? What is taking up our time with spending time with other people? And spending time with other people could be over the phone, it could be over Zoom, it could be in chat, it could be in person. But where are these moments in time that if we were to make a decision to change how much time we are either spending either on these things or with these people or groups, we actually have the control to set the boundaries on ourselves that I only want to spend 20 minutes on the phone with this person versus 2 hours. And when we look at that as an example, if we were spending 2 hours in a conversation with someone on the phone, that 2 hours, had we not been doing that, could be used for other things. And so out of that 2 hours, even if we were to take out of that 2 hours just one of those hours, that could be 1 hour that we could dedicate to taking a class, going to exercise, prioritizing spending maybe time with maybe someone else that we were maybe putting off because we felt we didn't have time. And so there are those moments, and there is a set amount of time, but what we do with that time is we do have a choice. Now, there's a choice that needs to be made for the time that is ours, because if we're working, we're giving time to either our employer or our business, and it's time that needs to be spent there. But we also have to know that we deserve personal times for ourselves and build enough value in that to make it important enough to now be looking at, where can we find this time and how can we make time for ourselves. So it's really, once we can get past either deserving, focusing on ourselves, or being worthy of focusing on ourselves, it's really changing our perception of time and also boundaries. Because unless we put up a boundary between ourselves and what is in the way of getting access to that time we want back for ourselves, we won't get that time to make for something else that you want to be doing. And so just know that you have a choice and you have control. And the other thing that we do have to consider as well is our perception also is skewed by life stressors and anxiety and fear. And these fears and perceived obstacles and things we're anxious about, they kind of consume our time, and we can't really distinguish the time they consume, the anxiety, the fear, the obstacles, to seeing what is left over for time. And so we need to become a little bit more present and more grounded in order to figure out that even our daily stressors, our anxiety, and our fears are blocking our perception of time. So stay tuned, and you may want to watch this more than once. And this is a video that you could watch again as a reminder later on. So you may want to bookmark it. And if you have someone that you love and care about, and they're struggling with finding time for themselves, maybe share this video with them. And so I'm going to leave you with, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this. And we'll talk again real soon. Bye.